Justin, thinking back to your freshman year, you guys playing an Iowa State team that nobody really gave you a shot against, and you had a kind of whole week to prepare for that. What was that week of prep like, and is this weekend at all similar to that to you?
Yeah, similar in a way. You know, we kind of got the memo that everybody's counting us out. Coaches kind of gave us that message. Not that he had to, because we kind of understood that, but you know, preparation's been good. We've been hitting it pretty hard at practice. You know, just taking it one day at a time, and you know, the main thing for us is just to come out and be the more tougher team and the more competitive team. We take care of those two things, we'll be all right.
What is it like when you have a week to prepare for the NCAA tournament like this, where you lose early in the Big Ten tournament, you have a little bit of extra time? What is that like? What are you able to accomplish with that time?
Yeah, it was nice. You know, we played Friday, so we had a couple off days in there just to let our bodies recover. Just got some skill work in, so it was good. I feel like guys are fully energized. We're ready to roll. I felt like we had good energy in practice yesterday. And we're just looking to continue preparing the right way today and tomorrow to make sure we're our best version of ourselves on Friday.
For Cedric, obviously your first NCAA tournament game. Is this the moment you came to Ohio State for, and what does it feel like going into this moment here?
For sure, man. I came here to play in big games like this, and this is definitely something that's off the checklist, but it's still the same preparation, the same mindset going into it, and like Justin said, man, just staying ready and being a more competitive team when the time comes.
And for Justin, how much do you think about last year's first round game coming into this game? Is any part of you guys as a team think about rectifying that this year, or is that not something you really think about at all?
Oh yeah, but it's been on our mind since the day it happened. That was history, so it was something we were working. We had in mind when we were working all last summer. Throughout the whole season. So we're excited to get out there on Friday and cut loose and just leave it all out there, compete.
For either one of you, in watching Loyola, especially with the way they played Illinois a year ago, it's a lot of the same guys. It looks like they make you guard for a while, maybe more than you want to guard. What's kind of the challenge in that when you're playing a team that's going to try to make you guard the full 30 minutes?
Yeah, and like I kind of said earlier, all the X's and O's are great, but when time comes down to it, we got to be the more tough team, the more competitive team for full 40 minutes. If we handle that, we'll live with the results. So I think that's that's the biggest challenge for us. We've been facing all year. We haven't put a full 40-minute effort together. 5 guys that are on the floor being tough and competitive. So if we handle that, we'll be just fine.
Cedric, I know you weren't a part of this team last year, but how much have you heard about that tournament loss last year and throughout the season, just kind of seeing guys use that as fuel?
Enough, man, enough. And, even though, like I said, I wasn't a part of it last year, I am this year. And I'm willing to take the licks just as those guys. So, whatever I can do to, help us not repeat that, and go out and put our best foot forward, that's what I'm willing to do.
How'd you guys come out of the Penn State game? Coach afterwards said he felt like you guys did have some nice moments. I know the result wasn't what you wanted, but I know you sort of went there just wanting to get to a place where you were playing better. Did you feel like you guys did play better in that game than you had in the previous 3 or 4?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Like Coach said, we had some good moments. We had some good connected moments, where the team was working as a full unit. But we watched film, cut up, all the good clips and all the bad clips, and learn from both ends of the deal ultimately. I wouldn't say we prepared how we wanted to prepare, or we didn't play how we wanted to play in the Big Ten tournament. Obviously we came up short. But on the bright side, it was nice to get some time off, get our legs back, because the last quarter of the season was a grind for us, especially in the Big Ten.
What's it like this year to just have like a sort of like normal prep for the tournament? Like you got to come back home and like sleep in your own beds and watch film in your own building and practice in your own building, as opposed to last year where you just never left Indianapolis.
Yeah, it was weird last year, man. That was an experience I'll never forget. Because we were in JW Marriott for like 3 weeks. So it was like, we got done with the Big Ten tournament, lost in overtime to Illinois. Everybody's heartbroken. Like, we really wanted to win that one. We had a day off, and then we went, had to just walk to the convention center, practice. You had like an hour to practice. Stiff floors and all that, good stuff. And then come back, watch film. So it's totally different. But, at the end of the day, the goal's still the same. So, we just got to take it one day at a time, prepare the right way. So, like I said earlier, we're the best version of ourselves on Friday.
Cedric, you said that preparation doesn't change heading into it, or it hasn't felt like different or things like that. Is there more weight though? I mean, having never been a part of an NCAA tournament, like, does this feel different for you? Is there more weight attached to the game that's coming, or what is that like for you?
I mean, for sure, it all get multiplied when it's win or go home. So definitely, the approach, it's like it's magnified. But like I say, you can't really get ahead of yourself. At the end of the day, it's still the same 40-minute game. And you just have to, take advantage of each possession more. Everything's mattered that much more. That's what I mean about it. I'm not saying it's like it's just another game, because at the end of the day, it's either we gonna advance or we don't. So that's the approach and the mindset going into it. But not to get too far ahead of yourself, and just take it as another game, and and go out and put your best foot forward.
And Justin, obviously there's a few players with you who have never played in the NCAA tournament, and I'm curious. I mean, when someone asks you, okay, what is it like to play at the big dance in March Madness, things like that, is there a moment that comes to mind? Is there a game or like an instance that you're like, okay, this is my best descriptor for what playing in the NCAA tournament is like?
I wouldn't really say a moment. I know my freshman year was a great feeling, advanced to the round of 32, beating Iowa State. But, we've always told the guys this is the best time of the year. This is everything you sacrifice for. No matter what seed you are, no matter if you're predicted to win or not, anything's possible. So, it's the best time of the year. And to say there was a moment, that I got, I would say beating Iowa State. But, we got some big goals this year, so hopefully we can go accomplish them.
For any of you guys, on the radio show on Monday, both Coach Holtmann and Coach Peden were talking about trusting the pass more, and that's something that you guys have been lacking in the last couple of weeks. What does that mean to you guys? What is, when they tell you that you need to trust the pass more, what does that look like?
Really, not trying to force it. Trusting, the one more pass, and having faith that your teammates are gonna, make the shot or make the next right play. They're not necessarily making the shot, but just really, not trying to force it, and like I say, just trusting your teammate to take advantage of the next play, and really just put, the team in the best position to win.
Malachi, what's the excitement level for your first NCAA tournament game?
It's up there. I'm very excited. I came from St. Vincent St. Mary. It's winning is kind of all we've been known. So I'm just excited to help this team out, and hopefully we can put some games together to win. So
Before you came in here, we were talking to these guys about last year and some of the, I don't want to call them failures, but the losses in the tournament. You weren't a part of that, but I'm sure you were aware being a kid here. What's your kind of motivation to help prevent that this time around?
Like Cedric said, really just take every possession. It matters. Like, every possession matters. So we just got to take that one step at a time, one possession at a time, and if we do that, we're gonna be in good shape.
Malachi, how did you come through the Penn State game? Obviously, you went down with the ankle early and were able to shake it off, but did that affect you throughout the game?
No, not really. I kind of broke my ankle a couple times, so it wasn't as bad. But I pushed through.
The question I asked Cedric for both of you guys about, like, trusting the next pass and ball movement things. Where do you think that's gone in the last couple of weeks? Have you felt that as being an issue, and is that something that this week of practice maybe lets you work on a little bit?
I wouldn't really say it's been an issue. I think the biggest thing is it just kind of lets the other team off the hook when you're not making the other team guard like they're making us guard. It definitely takes an effect on the game and changes the pace of the game. So it's something that's got to be a part of us and who we are these weeks coming forward. Because in the tournament, like they said, every possession matters. So we got to get a shot on goal. Obviously, can't turn the ball over. But just getting good looks, whether they go in or not, as long as we're taking good looks and making the other team work, we'll be in good shape.
For Malachi, Williamson for them is either like the two-time reigning Defensive Player of the Year in that conference. What stands out to you about him as a defender, and how much are you looking forward to that matchup?
Really, like you said, he's a two-time defender of the year. So, it's definitely going to be a good matchup, I say. Yeah, like you said, they're probably going to put them on me, but it's a team thing, so we're just trying to get the dub. That's it.
And then how much have you thought about your future kind of after, this tournament run here? Because I know a lot of people are thinking, what you might do after the season. Have you put any thought into that?
No, I haven't. I'm thinking about winning, and then when the season is over with, whenever that is, hopefully it's in April, the first week of April. And yeah, I'm not thinking about that right now.
Malachi, you've caught, I think, a lot of people's attention with your ability to score this year, but I'm wondering how you feel like you've played on the other end of the floor and
Yeah.
just kind of what you learned about what it takes to be a consistently good defender at this level.
Yeah, so on the defensive side, I'm still working. I'm still trying to get better at aspects, especially my off the ball awareness. My on the ball defense has been gotten a little better. I still got to improve on that. But I feel like I just got to keep working and practice every day, and I think I'll be good.
For any of you, one of the things that Ryan Peden said on the radio was that this team is very, very similar to, say, it's like Big Ten light almost. Like it's kind of like they bring a lot of Big Ten tendencies. And I'm curious, do you guys see the same thing? And kind of what does that mean to you when you see a team that has a little bit of Big Ten tendencies?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that definitely. They're a tough team. They compete every possession. They guard. They're active on defense. They get steals. Like Adam said, they make you guard for a while. So it's very much a Big Ten-like game. So I think that plays into our hands because we've been playing Big Ten teams all year. So I think like I've been saying, the biggest thing for us is we got to be the tougher team and more competitive team when the ball tips Friday at 12:15. We handle that. We'll be just fine.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, good to be back with you. Obviously, been preparing as soon as we got word on Sunday night. We get the word just like everybody else does. We get the word on selection Sunday. Some people have asked, do you ever know ahead of time where you're going to go, who you're going to play? We don't. We get it like everybody else. So as soon as we got our opponent, we started to get to work in preparation. Obviously, we need to continue to get healthy. I'll touch on that in a minute. A couple thoughts on Loyola. I think they're obviously a tremendous program. Have had great success over a number of years. Final Four a couple years ago, Sweet 16 last year. So tremendous program. Older guys, as you'd expect, strong, tough kids, well coached. It's a great program, and they're certainly one of the best teams we've played all year. No question about that. As far as our health right now, we're I think getting healthier. I have no update on Kyle or Zed. Those will be game time decisions right now, and we'll know more here honestly in a couple days. I don't have an answer for you right now. Michi? Yeah, Michi's fine.
What can you do with the week of practice that you haven't been able to do in the last couple of weeks?
We've just been able to get a little more work in, to play a little bit more, to get up and down. We were not able to do that in this compressed schedule. So, you just have a little bit more time to compete and play against each other. Now we did give them Monday off from practice. They did some skill workouts, but gives you a chance to just kind of get up and down and play a little more.
As a coaching staff, when you're coming off of such quick turnarounds like you have been, when you have a week to prepare for one team, what does that enable you to do as a coaching staff? How do you? I mean, I'm sure you could probably overanalyze things, but
yeah.
What are you able to do when you have a full week like you've had to prepare?
Well, I think one, you're obviously not near familiar with them as you are with teams in your league, and vice versa. They can say the same. It's a lot of film study. I think you're trying to get a really good feel for them, and we did that starting on Sunday night. You're literally watching, and for a league opponent that you've already played once, you might watch 4 or 5 games. Obviously, for a team like this that we haven't played, you're watching most of their games throughout the year, at least their last 10 to 12. So it just gives you a little bit more time to kind of prepare and put a game plan in, and obviously playing on Friday does as well.
Neither of those guys have practiced, have they, or I'm assuming?
They've been able to do some things, but not full practices.
Coach Williamson, what stands out about him as a defender? Obviously, the 2-time reigning MVC Defensive Player of the Year, I believe.
He's terrific on both ends. He's a terrific player. I think there's no question he's an NBA player. He's got great versatility. Has been really productive for a long time. I think he played on their Final Four team and played an important role on their Final Four team. So he's a terrific talent. Older kid. They're all older. To be honest with you, they're a very old, strong, physical team, and that's why I think they've had so much success.
And then obviously last year, the early exit in the first round, Justin Arns said that, you guys have been thinking about that ever since it happened. How much does that play on your mind in terms of something you feel like you have to rectify in this game, or is that not a storyline for you?
We've talked about it. We owned it. That was a little bit different. That was a 2-15. Obviously, this is a matchup where I think it's different in that regard. But certainly, we talked about it. We owned it when it happened. And we want to be focused on being healthy and playing well.
When you look at that the last 5 games, the 4 losses, how much is the new season mantra a real thing going into March Madness?
Well, I think your players feel it. Obviously, I think your guys embrace what kind of this time is all about. I think there's certainly a normal excitement. They still feel the tough stretch we had. I know they do. But I think our challenge is moving forward. And, I think that's the thing. I've reminded them, we've had tough stretches. Teams have had tough stretches and then played well. We've had 3 tournament experiences here as a program, and 2 of them we played very well. 2 years we played very well in them. Obviously, last year we didn't, and I think as much as anything, the idea of a new season is a good thing.
Sorry.
Everything okay out there?
My other question, I don't even remember at this point, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. If you can recall it, we'll come back to you here. You got to be able to play through distractions. Okay? All right? There's a focus required for coaches and reporters, all right?
Just looking what Loyola was able to do to Illinois last year, and a lot of that personnel is still back.
Yeah.
They kind of make you guard the full 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And for you guys, obviously defense has been a little bit of a struggle
Yeah.
this year. I mean, what's the challenge there with teams who are going to make you sit down and actually play defense? For a
No,
while?
they really they attacked in transition. I thought their tournament play, and they were a tournament team before winning that tournament. People thought they weren't, but they were clearly. You look at who they've beaten and how their schedule, but their tournament play was really impressive on the offensive end. They hang their hat on the defensive end. They're outstanding on that end. I think arguably the best defensive team we played. But offensively, they were really good. They were good in transition. They were good at really attacking. And they've got tremendous shooting across the board and a great skill. They've got a really versatile team. So obviously our ability to defend them, both in transition and the half court, is going to be really important.
And obviously, you just said Zed and Kyle are still kind of game time decisions there, but that was the case against Michigan State. It kind of gave Joey a chance to maybe emerge in that game. I'm not saying that can you play through Joey again in this situation, but given what the matchup situation is, how much more valuable does he become in a game like this?
Well, his depth is important. Obviously, we don't win that game without him and probably Jamari's play there. So his depth is important. We just, again, we've talked about the kind of injuries on the front line and in the middle of our lineup. So having depth there is important, and he'll be ready.
Chris, one of the things that Ryan Peden said on the radio Monday was that he sees Loyola Chicago having a lot of Big Ten tendencies, and I'm wondering what that means to you, if you agree, and kind of what that kind of represents heading into this.
Yeah, they're very similar to Big Ten teams. Strong, physical. I think they're older than maybe most Big Ten teams, but they're strong and they're physical. Really, really good defensively. And I think that their style of play, they're as physical as any team will play all year. I think they're the most physical team we'll have played all year.
And so obviously there's a lot of guys on your roster who may have not experienced the NCAA tournament before, and I'm curious, at least for you, is there a moment or something, whether it's with Ohio State, whether it was at Butler in your first years, that kind of represents what the NCAA tournament means and kind of you use as an example of, okay, you're going to feel this too when you get there?
I mean, we have some traditions that we do. I'll kind of keep those in-house, leading up to it. But, our guys will get to feel for it. It's such a unique experience. When you go there the day before is a lot of media stuff the day before. Practicing in the venue is a unique experience with fans. So I think all that, you're right. We do have a lot of guys that are experiencing it for the first time. It's, their roster, I think, has a roster that's full of a lot of guys who played in that tournament. But I think it'll be an experience that, once it gets to tip, all that stuff's out the door.
Do you have to say anything to those guys that are doing this for the first time? Because as you mentioned, there are quite a few of them.
No, I think as much as anything, you're just trying to keep them focusing on doing their job and, competing at a high level. I think that's the most important thing. The stuff around it, they're aware of, but we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it.
And you said, I think, in your opening statement that you don't know a ton about them because you haven't played them, but they don't know a ton about you either. I think most of your losses recently have come second or third time playing a team. Is that an advantage, especially given kind of the slump that you guys can use, that they don't know you as well as some of these Big Ten teams do?
Yeah, I think any coach this time of year is you ask any coach in the country, and they're excited about getting out of conference play. especially when you play 20 games in league play. And I know they play, I think a lot of league games do, maybe 18. So I think anytime you're jumping out of conference, it's an exciting thing for coaches and players.
I want to ask, second half against Penn State, as I kind of rewatched that, you went 7 minutes, I think, without a field goal, although you did have guys get to the foul line, as you alluded to, I think, after that game. Just seemed like it was an awful lot put on EJ and Malachi in that stretch, and that really from 12 minutes all the way to the end of the game. What can you do to alleviate some of that burden? I know Kyle, if he's there, he's a facilitator, and Zed, a little bit of a threat too if he's available. Just what can you do to have other guys step up in those moments and
I think
and complement your two?
Yeah, I think we've got to find a way, Steve, to get more balance across the board, and we've got to look as coaches at ways we can do that with guys. I do think we became a little bit too reliant on those two guys, and it was tough for Malachi because they were really physical with him. It's tough to ask a freshman to do. So I do think we just across the board are going to need a little more balance offensively. It's too much to, I think, ask of those guys and expect it, especially against the caliber of defense that we're going to see on Friday.
Chris, I think a lot of people are excited to watch Malachi go against, Williamson on the offensive end, but I'm kind of curious with the other end, Malachi guarding him. Just what have you observed of Malachi's defense this year? He said here, he's still trying to grow. Obviously, he's only a freshman.
Yeah.
I think he said he wants to improve off the ball more than anything. Just what's your assessment of him on that end?
Yeah, he's an 18-year-old, so he's learning. He's learning. He's an 18-year-old going against I don't know how old Williamson is, probably 22, 23. So I do think there's a strength and physicality factor that's going to be a challenge for Malachi. But I think he's anxious he's a kid that just wants to continue to improve, and he's done that throughout the year. Defensively, he needs to. He needs to continue to get better with that. Some of it's a strength issue. Some of the times he gets offensively in trouble is a strength issue as well. There's not a whole lot you can do about that, but I know he's got great respect for Williamson.
And they're a very high assist rate team. They're good on both ends of the floor with assist rate, but I'm wondering what makes a defense good in terms of assist rate. Like what are the hallmarks of a defense that is good at limiting an opponent's assists?
Yeah, they really they extend, they pressure, they force you into a lot of one-on-one plays. They don't overhelp a whole lot, so you're not finding ways to drive and kick. They're really, really physical on the ball, but they're just really good in kind of in terms of pressure and extending their pressure. Excuse me, and they consistently do a pretty good job of staying home on shooters.
Don't want to oversimplify things, but now that you've had a chance to step back and look at the Big Ten season, what does this team need to do to make a run in the NCAA tournament? If we're sitting here 2 weeks from now and they're still going, what is it that they've put together?
Again, focus on the things we've got to improve on. I think you're always taking it literally one possession at a time in this tournament, and I think that has to be our focus. It's literally one possession at a time. Have fun with it. Take it one possession at a time and be aggressive in our attack on both ends.
As you've set up practice and you said those guys are doing some things on the side, is the indication that, guys, this is who we are? If we get those two, that's a big bonus, but may not happen. And can you win the game without them?
Well, listen, I think the indication is those guys are doing everything they can to get back, and hopefully they will get cleared. And we'll see what our roster is on game day. I just don't know right now, Clay. But I think it's not. Hey, this is our guys that's going to play. This is our group that's not going to play. Our guys understand we've had a season unlike any others with injury, Clay, so they understand it is next man up, and the next guy needs to be ready to play and perform at a high level. All right, guys.